I feel really sad for the women, but I'm happy that they're free. Everyone that's coming out, I'm happy that they're free because they had to hold on to a secret that they may have seen shrinks for years and years and years. So I'm just happy for them, and I believe that things will change. And I'm not gonna allow people to take my freedom. Only freedom I have is freedom to be me, freedom to do me, freedom to move around the way I want to, say what I want to, and not let you put me in a box.
Combs threatened and coerced victims to fulfill desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
Bad Boy founder and certified party boy Sean Diddy Combs is in deep trouble, and more of the people he previously considered allies are now turning against him, one such person being award-winning singer Mary J. Blige. So the big question is, was Mary part of the circus, or did she just witness it? Earlier this year, the singer took a swipe at Diddy and promised to burn bridges, and it seems she's living true to her word. What do you think will happen next?
This is just, no one wants to go through this, and this is hard. And I mean, I'm hanging in there.
The 53-year-old queen of R&B took to Instagram shortly after 2 of Diddy's homes were raided by federal agents earlier this year. The 54-year-old rapper has been slammed by numerous allegations of physical and sexual abuse in recent months, but maintains his innocence and is adamant he will clear his name. But now that seems far-fetched than ever. Could it be that Mary has shared with 50 Cent what she experienced in Diddy's hands? Just in case you forgot, Mary and Fif are now bosom buddies and have been working on a number of projects together, including podcasts.
The most expensive thing we really spend is time. The time put into the relationship and that energy that's over that time period.
I love that. The most expensive thing we really do spend is time.
And we also need no reminder that Fif and Puffy don't see eye to eye, especially after the G-Unit founder found out that his baby mama is part of Diddy's dirty entourage. Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs, has worked with numerous top-tier artists throughout his career, including Notorious Big, Usher, Lil' Kim, and Mary J. Diddy helped produce Mary J's first 2 albums, and the duo have enjoyed a close relationship over the years. But it looks like that is about to change. Despite their 30-year friendship, the Grammy-winning artist appeared to speak up against Diddy in a cryptic Instagram post. Speaking to her 6.8 million followers, Mary J wrote, "Unfortunately, a lot of you all met me when I lacked boundaries and was a people pleaser." Presenting an older and wiser version of herself, the Family Affair singer claimed she was not scared to end relationships. She continued, "Let me reintroduce myself. I burn bridges as needed." What do you think she meant by that? Mary J.'s fans were split over the post. While some commended her for not being afraid to cut people out of her life, others insinuated she was throwing Diddy under the bus. Following his arrest, arraignment, and subsequent bail denial, the Grammy-winning rapper is now on watch as he awaits trial in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, sources have revealed. Diddy was arrested at a Manhattan hotel on the night of Monday, September 16th. The next day, his indictment was unsealed, revealing that he was charged with S-traying and transportation to engage in petion.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
He was remanded to MDC on Tuesday, September 17th, after pleading not guilty and being denied bail twice this week. It is not known if Diddy is or how long he has been on watch. Sources close to the story revealed that it is for preventative measures as the rapper is in shock, and his mental state is unclear. According to the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections, watches supervisory precautions taken for inmates that require frequent observation. During a court hearing, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, asked a judge to transfer the music mogul to a prison in Essex County in New Jersey. The decision was ultimately put in the hands of the Bureau of Prisons, MDC, which houses 1,600 inmates, many of whom are awaiting trial, is known for being dangerous and understaffed, with a high number of deaths in their motion for Puffy to be granted bail. His attorneys wrote that several courts in this district have recognized that the conditions at Metropolitan Detention Center are not fit for pretrial detention, per the Daily. Just earlier this summer, an inmate was M. The legal team added, at least 4 inmates have died by there in the past 3 years. In the indictment against Diddy, he was accused of forcing victims to have F-offs, which prosecutors describe as elaborate and produced S performances. He allegedly used his fame and influence, as well as ketamine and oxycodone, to coerce and intimidate women to join the F-offs. Additionally, the F-offs were sometimes allegedly captured on camera without the victim's knowledge. Federal investigators seized 3 AR-15 rifles and 1,000 bottles of baby oil and when raiding his Miami and Los Angeles homes this past March. Expectedly, Puffy's arrest provoked a range of sharp reactions from rapper and longtime critic 50 Cent, as well as other celebrities in the hip-hop and R&B communities. 50 Cent, whose real name is Curtis Jackson III, tweeted a photo of him and actor Drew Barrymore and captioned, "Here I am keeping good company with Barrymore, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of at the house," referencing investigators' findings while they searched Combs' homes in March, when law enforcement recovered more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and according to his indictment.
If you ever went to Costco and bought that KY in bulk for Diddy, you are going to jail. Whoever bought the Johnson & Johnson for Diddy's Johnson is going to jail.
Radio host Charlemagne the God said during a Monday segment on The Breakfast Club that if Diddy is convicted of and S-traying, there will be others involved who will be probably going to jail. Our guess is that Mary J won't be one of those people.
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me, not talent-wise, but in other areas.
Singer Audrey O'Day, who has been outspoken about Combs, said Monday she felt validated after the rapper's arrest, following up the tweet by saying she chose to speak to people who could move justice in the way I needed to see it. Mary's new friend, 50 Cent, has long criticized Diddy Combs in the lead-up to his indictment. In May, the Many Men hitmaker reshared a post from the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office condemning a video showing Diddy his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. The attack took place beyond the statute of limitations, provoking Fifth to say the office released the video knowing they can't charge him with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw. Fifth also chimed in on the raids conducted on Diddy's residences, tweeting, "They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent put out a diss track against Puffy in 2006 and announced last year that his production company would produce a documentary about the numerous allegations against his arch-rival titled Diddy Do It. On the other hand, O'Day is a former member of R&B girl group Danity Kane, which was signed to Diddy's record label Bad Boy Records in 2005. Another person who has recently voiced his opinion concerning the troubled record executive is his former point man turned critic Gene Deal.
To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him. And it is what it is. You gotta know better.
Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, shared his thoughts on the mogul's actions, suggesting they stem from learned behaviors and the influence of powerful mentors in the industry. Deal believes that when all the facts come to light, Diddy may belong in jail, and emphasizes that this is not the fault of others, such as Cassie, but rather the result of his own choices. Deal points to industry veterans like Andre Harrell, Russell Simmons, and Clive Davis, claiming Diddy learned certain behaviors from them. He explains how the use, physical and questionable actions these men were involved in during their prime influenced Diddy's belief that he could engage in similar behavior without consequences. "You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell, Russell Simmons, and Clive Davis," Deal said, highlighting their impact on Diddy's mindset.
He learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clive Davis. You understand?
One story Deal recounts involves an encounter at Russell Simmons' home, where he and a friend witnessed Simmons in bed with a man wearing Deal asserts that these experiences, combined with turned Diddy into a According to the former bodyguard, the current situation Diddy finds himself in is one of the biggest tragedies in hip-hop, comparable to the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. "This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies. Shakespeare couldn't write it in Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet. He brought it on himself," Deal remarked. In his eyes, Diddy's downfall is a result of his own actions, fueled by learned behaviors and indulgences, leading to a path that may ultimately land him in prison. Now the likes of Gene Deal, Shine, and even Mary J claim they won't mind testifying against Diddy. But oh my, What a spectacular fall from grace this has been. If anything, the most honest thing Sean Combs may have ever done was name his record label Bad Boy. Although 54-year-old Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka Puffy, aka P. Diddy, Diddy and Love, has been orchestrating a lot more than just braggadocious bad behavior during the intervening decades, according to a federal indictment unsealed Tuesday. Instead, it charges he's been the veritable architect and leader of a criminal enterprise engaged in alleged arson, forced labor, obstruction of justice, and estray. No one surely wants a hand in that. It was that final accusation, laid out not in federal charging papers but in a series of damning lawsuits last year, that first revealed the growing cracks in the veneer of Diddy's carefully curated reputation. He strenuously denied all wrongdoing, but the filings were quickly followed by a bi-coastal raid on his properties amid a tight-lipped federal investigation. Then the leaking of a violent video showing Diddy's brutal beating at a hotel of then-girlfriend Cassie, the most high-profile victim to sue him.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted.
The footage was proof that his denials had been false all along. Diddy tried a weak-filmed mea culpa and apologized on Instagram, staying largely and uncharacteristically out of public view despite a few other presumed attempts at reputation rehab. 2 lukewarm family-centric posts on the same social media platform amid occasional statements from lawyers. Those efforts did nothing to stem the tide of public embarrassment. Howard University revoked the honorary degree of which he'd been so proud. The mayor of New York asked the rapper to return the key to the city. Even Miami Beach canceled its annual Sean Diddy Combs Day. And now, exactly 3 years after the rapper applauded the Me Too movement in a September 2021 magazine profile, and just 1 year after performing a medley of his hits, to accept the Global Icon Award at the VMAs, he's been arrested for a litany of jaw-dropping alleged offenses that include violent crimes against women. He was taken into custody in the lobby of a Manhattan hotel, a 5-star setting in the city whose high society he presided over for years. Federal prosecutors on Tuesday were pushing in court for detainment until trial. The prospect of drab prison scrubs a world away from Diddy's years of flashy fashion and his legendary Labor Day Hamptons white parties. Everything that's happening with Diddy right now, however, is a far cry from the Teflon career he crafted for himself. He's previously dodged prison time for charges related to everything from illegal gun possession to fatal concert stampedes. But the Diddy depicted in the indictment, one who and coerced to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct, may have a harder time wriggling away from the long grasp of the law. His public fame began muting last November when 3 separate women filed lawsuits against him in a single week, some of the allegations dating back decades. The actions were taken before the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act, which provided a 1-year window for the pursuit of litigation, regardless of when the abuse occurred. Most shocking were the allegations made by his former partner of a decade, singer Cassandra Ventura, known professionally as Cassie, and almost 20 years Diddy's junior. The couple were in a high-profile relationship for years until their 2018 breakup sparked a frenzy of headlines and gossip.
And just a day after music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was accused of and years of in a new lawsuit filed by R&B singer Cassie, word of a settlement overnight.
Fearing being exposed, Diddy settled the suit within a day, but not before the publication of Cassie's staggering allegations. Among them, the suit claimed that the rapper had her in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding, and introduced her to a lifestyle of excessive and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Cassie's lawsuit shockingly claims Diddy had another rapper's car blown up after learning the musician was romantically interested in Cassie, forced her to engage in S-acts with male S-workers in sessions he called F-offs, while M-baiting and filming the encounters, and demanded she carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. Despite the settlement, the rapper denied all wrongdoing outlined in Cassie's filings and within the other lawsuits, though his legal woes were far from over. In February this year, former employee Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a suit accusing Diddy of sexual harassment and weeks later, Federal agents raided the rapper's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. He wasn't at home at the time, although his sons were. Homeland Security Investigations New York said the March raid was part of an ongoing investigation but did not elaborate at the time. The mogul's lawyers called the raids a gross overuse of military-level force. Tuesday's indictment, however, revealed some of what authorities recovered in those raids: narcotics, 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, ammunition, a drum magazine, and evidence aligning with the F-off so graphically outlined in Cassie's lawsuit. Also recovered were more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil, according to the indictment, which alleges that Diddy subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in F-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances, declared the prosecutor. The day after the raid, authorities arrested a 25-year-old former college basketball player, Brendan Paul, who'd been named in Lil Rod Jones' court filings as an alleged mule for the superstar. Then in May, CNN published CCTV footage that it had obtained from March 2016 showing Combs chasing Cassie down the corridor of a Los Angeles hotel before punching and kicking her near the elevators. When confronted with that evidence, Diddy finally apologized, calling his behavior inexcusable in a social media post, claiming to take full responsibility for his actions in the video, and asking God for his mercy and grace. He said he sought professional help and went to therapy and rehab in the aftermath of the 2016 incident. "It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that," he said in a social media post. "I was fed up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable." The rapper had already stepped down as chairman of his television company Revolt, but the violent footage was sounding the death knell for some other feathers in his cap. The month after its release, Howard University, the historic black institution he'd attended before dropping out to pursue his music career, revoked the honorary degree it conferred 10 years earlier, also returning Diddy's donation money and disbanding a scholarship program in his name. A decade after a humbled Combs stood proudly on the Howard graduation stage, accepting the degree in front of friends and family, the school issued a statement calling his behavior in the video so fundamentally incompatible with Howard University's core values and beliefs that he is deemed no longer worthy to hold the institution's highest honor. The same month, New York City Mayor Eric Adams asked Diddy to return the keys to the city and rescinded the honor he'd bestowed not even 1 year earlier, in September 2023. Around the same time, the singer performed at the VMAs and released his latest studio album. The Mayor and City Commission of Miami Beach also revoked honors and recognition in June 2024, canceling Sean Diddy Combs Day, which had been implemented on October 13th, 8 years earlier, by the city's then mayor. They determined the designation was no longer in harmony with the city's values of safety, community well-being, and respect. Combs himself was laying low throughout all of this. He was pictured looking stone-faced near his Florida home in the weeks after the March raid, but his most well-known and infamous appearance this year was on that CCTV footage. Until this week, Diddy is now fighting for his freedom, not just his business interests or his reputation. That battle suffered a great loss on Tuesday when the judge denied his bail, ordering the rapper to remain in federal custody while awaiting trial on and securities trading charges. His lawyer said he intends to appeal the decision further, and there's been no word directly from remanded Combs. For all his bluster and bravado, he's shown no interest in real prison time in the past. When he was found not guilty in March 2001 of gun and charges, Diddy was visibly shaking before the verdict was read. Legions of fans thronged the courtroom and beyond during that trial, which stemmed from a 1999 nightclub shooting that occurred while the record exec was with Jennifer Lopez, both of them arguably at the height of their fame. Fans threw open the windows of the courthouse upon his acquittal, chanting his name and "leave him alone," the New York Times reported at the time. Well, that was a different era, however, and a very different, still serious set of charges. Diddy was years from being accused of directing a criminal enterprise over decades of women, leaving injuries that took weeks and months to heal. This time, he's facing a prosecution that represents him as being a criminal mastermind who used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial S. Those employees, including security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates acted as his intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by the rapper's control of the Combs business. The Grammy winner orchestrated and continued to carry out a campaign of terror against victims even after the most damning allegations came out against him last year. According to the indictment, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. It states, still though, the investigation persisted, gathering enough evidence against the impresario to land him in custody for what now seems to be an indeterminate amount of time. Coincidentally, 23 years ago, Diddy was celebrating the continued success of his release Bad Boy for Life and his third studio album, The Saga Continues. Perhaps both titles marked another hint of honesty from Diddy, and more than a little bit of foreshadowing. With the cat now officially out of the bag, will more people join Mary J. Blige in denouncing Diddy? Only time will tell. And that's it from us today until next time. Thank you for watching.